Good afternoon. My name is Lee George, and I am the Director of Marketing for the James J. Hill Center in downtown St. Paul. How many of you have been to the James J. Hill Center? Also known as the Reference Library. We've been around for almost 100 years, and we have weekly programs for startups and ongoing education for entrepreneurs, plus a massive amount of databases you can come and use for research. I'd love to see you all down there. And it's my pleasure to introduce the first place winner of the Minnesota Cup High Tech Division, Joe Stanton. Let's hear it for Joe.
All right, we're getting some slides going here. As you said, I'm Joe. I am the co-founder and CEO of Elevate. We're the world's best customer feedback platform for restaurants, retailers, and hotels. If you want to hit it, Ron. The title of my little talk today is actually, it's time to get on the rocket ship. Yeah, it is, isn't it? The irony, though, of course, is that when you're an early stage startup, it might feel initially like you're getting on a rocket ship, but it's much more of a roller coaster. Ron? So last year, 2014, my co-founder and I like to say it was kind of our dream season. We say this because we soft launched the company kind of like mid-late spring last year, meaning we still worked our real full-time jobs when we launched the company. We went out and in very short order got our first 4 or 5 paying customers. A few months later, we raised $500,000 from investors that we kind of thought were probably out of our league because they were so well thought of and respected. We then, Ron, if you want to hit it, concluded by winning the high-tech division of the Minnesota Cup. So it was the beginning of Elevate was a pretty exciting rocket ship ride, and I do want to hit on a little bit of the Minnesota Cup stuff because it was very instrumental in this kind of phase of our company from 2 points. First of all, when we were submitting the initial paperwork, which is happening like really soon, March 23rd. It forced us to finally actually document how we were going to acquire customers and what the size of our market opportunity was and all those really important things that we ended up having to use, obviously, to raise money and plan and grow our company. So that was the first thing, was actually really forcing us to think about some of that stuff rather than just let's build a product, let's get to market, let's quit our day jobs. And the second thing is that we got a ton of publicity. So lots of social chatter, tons of publicity from moving on to each of those rounds. And I was able to meet advisors, mentors, now friends, other colleagues in the entrepreneur community that I would have never met because we would have kind of been isolated in our little, in our little bubble about what we were doing. It also allowed me, that publicity allowed me to recruit our very first employee. So Charlie was a guy I had pegged a while before this as my number one person I wanted to work at Elevate and be employee number one. But he was running his own startup. But he was following everything that was happening at the Minnesota Cup and in social. And so I just took Charlie to lunch one day, and guess what I said to him? Charlie, it's time to get on the rocket ship. And Charlie did, and he became our first hire, and he's been fantastic, and that was because of the Minnesota Cup. Want to hit it, Ron? So after the Minnesota Cup is when reality set in, and it becomes the roller coaster. And I want to talk a little bit about that because it kind of leads into some other stuff. So this is a Post-it note, and I'm sorry for the profanity, but this is a Post-it note that actually sits at the base of my monitor, and I wrote it shortly after the Minnesota Cup when we started to actually have to get focused on growing the business and started to figure out that a lot of the assumptions we made were absolutely wrong. And so I wrote this as a reminder that as we start figuring stuff out, which we have been, that there's going to be that next thing that we don't know that's going to come, and we've got to be faster, smarter, and we've got to be able to iterate, fail fast, do all those things that everybody says. So I'll give you a couple examples, if you want to hit it, Ron. I'll just give you like 2. There's a lot more than 2, but some examples, because I think it's good to be really candid about the challenges that you face when you run a company, because people get up here and then you think they've got it all figured out, right? And the last slide says that we don't. So the first thing is when we launched Elevate, we thought, so my my co-founder and I had built customer feedback programs for Wendy's and Walgreens and Panera and ExxonMobil and all these huge brands. And we were building a product to come into the small to mid-sized market that was underserved. And we thought, boy, if we have a free trial and no setup fees, that it's a no-brainer, right? Everybody we're talking to is going to sign up. They're going to come to the site and be like, well, of course I would try it. All the big companies do this. Ron, if you want to hit it. So we came in really pushing the free trial and thinking this is going to be easier than we thought it was going to be. The reality actually is that they don't care about the free trial, these small businesses. It took us a few months to figure this out. What they care about is they want to make the right choice the first time. And it doesn't matter if you have one restaurant or you have 20 restaurants or you have 1,000 restaurants. You want to make the right choice the first time. And so we had to really change all our marketing. We had to change the way we had conversations with people and really focus on testimonials, case studies, profiles. If you read our blog, we have a new profile like every 2 weeks of one of our customers. So we got really honed in on that. And so that was one example. Ron, if you want to hit it again. The other one was our prospects will get what we do. I mean, who doesn't know what a customer feedback program is these days? Everywhere you go, you just have to tell somebody, you know those programs that says, how are we doing? And you go and you take a survey and give them feedback. I mean, everybody knows about those, right? Well, that was our assumption. And Ron, if you want to hit it. The reality was that we would talk to these folks, and they still wouldn't know what we were really talking about. And we would demo the software, and they would still be like, I'm not sure exactly what the benefit here is going to be. And so what we discovered through iteration and talking to folks is we've got to let them touch and feel the product. And Charlie was actually the person who one day just said, the next 5 sales calls that I have, I am going to set up at the entire account for them. I'm going to create their survey. I'm going to set up the reporting. I'm going to send them an email. It says, go log in as a customer, take this, then come back in as the merchant and look at your information and see how this might impact your business. And then when we get on the phone, we'll talk about it. And the second we did that, it changed all our conversations from what is this, how would this benefit me, to so how do we get started? Love it, totally, clearly understand the benefit to the business. So those are just 2 examples. We had many others. It took us 3 months to kind of really start figuring stuff out. The good news is that we figured it out. Figured out at least this phase. And, in March here, we're actually going to double our monthly revenue, which is really exciting for us. And our projections are looking like May, we're going to double again. So these efforts of figuring this out in this roller coaster ride, it feels like the roller coaster's coming back up. Of course, we're getting prepared for what is next and what's going to hit us next. We didn't do this alone, though. So another organization that we were lucky to be a part of is MESA, so Minnesota Emerging Software Advisory. Barb, who is one of the keynote speakers tonight, is actually one of my mentors. We didn't figure all this stuff out alone. So the great thing is that belonging to MESA, you get, we got 2 mentors. Maybe we needed 2 mentors. We got 2 mentors, and we meet every month, and we're able to candidly just talk about challenges, set goals, track against those goals, get a different perspective on things. And so MESA's been a great way to help us sort of like figure out and make that roller coaster go back up. You want to get one more? Last slide, but it's not just these 2 organizations. So I put this up here because we have an amazing ecosystem. And I want to give you one example at the end of this about this ecosystem we have here that I didn't even know about until like last spring when we entered the Minnesota Cup. So I don't know, a month ago, Kevin Rahea, who runs business development and affiliate marketing at Lead Pages, which is one of the fastest growing startups in Minnesota, if not all over the place. One day he just sends me an email out of the blue. Says, love your product. Know there's a need in the space for it. I've sold in small business, restaurant, retail, and hotel. I think I can help you. Let's have coffee. And so I went and had coffee with him. It's a no strings attached kind of thing. He says, I think I can help. You know how I think I can help? Let's launch an affiliate partner program at Elevate and put all these Groupon reps and people who are talking to these restaurants that he personally knows well. Let's make them part of your sales force. So from that cup of coffee last week, we launched our affiliate partner program, and we think it's going to be a huge growth channel for us at Elevate. So, then there's more folks like Kevin out there that have reached out, and so there's this really cool ecosystem here too. And I'm way over my time, I'm sure. So thank you. I'll be around, chat with anybody.